Hey, folks, this is Mickey G. Rodney T and I continue our conversation about inflation and the fact it's even hit the barbershops. And I guess why not? They're a business too. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School.
Well, it's the cost of doing business on the one hand, but on the other hand, they played this inflation thing up so bad that a lot of people took advantage of it. But you're gonna have to change. That $5 movie ain't gonna be $5 forever.
No,
And
it's just not.
I went yesterday because my son cuts my hair now. He cuts it real good, but he's been busy. He's getting back out there enjoying his life, so I didn't want to tie him down. So I tracked my barber down. I hadn't been over there in a while, and because during the pandemic, he closed. He closed his hours. He works by appointment only for his customers that were regulars and stuff. But he only can do it on the weekend because he works Monday through Friday. And, he said sometimes he worked 10, 15 hours, So I finally got caught up with him and got in. I said, I just go over there and get my treatment like I normally get, because that's all I went to the barber for, was to get facial and trimmed up, because I can't trim it up. I've been butchering my mustache for so long. I said, damn, let me see what it really looked like. So I caught up with him, and he was like, that was Friday. So he was going, he said, no, I just came out here, Mr. T, because I wanted to get you taken care of. I didn't have no openings for tomorrow. He said, these people, they start at 8:00, I said, oh, okay, well, I appreciate it, man. Man, he got through. I said, what I owe you, man? It's been a while since I made it. He said, oh, that'll be 30, Mr. T. I'm like, 30? Okay. I usually end up giving him around that amount anyway. I've given him more, but but I'm tipping him, because he'll work me in, and which I always like that, because I don't never know when I'm gonna be in the mood to go to the barbershop. So he worked me in.
Right.
So for the longest time, I know when I first started going there, he was charging 10. Then he went up to 15, but he said, no, Mr. Turner, you pay 10. Oh, okay. I kept paying 10, but I'd give him a tip, which was either 5 or more. Okay. Then he went up to 20. I think I paid that one time. And then I pretty much stopped going because he wasn't never around. But it jumped up to 30. I was like, good Lord.
Yeah, that's the way it is with Mike. But then again, see, I got here, from the DC area, and they was charging that same thing at that time. I think he was charging $12 for a cut. Well, I was paying 20 in DC, and then a tip on top of that. So I'm like, yeah, this is a bargain now. But yeah, he's up to 30 now, and I used to give him, a $10 tip.
Yeah.
And so that means, it's basically $40 a cut now, and I can understand, I understand, like I say, like everything else, his costs and everything have gone up too. Yeah. But yeah, I've seen that with him, that I'm paying quite a bit more than when I first got here. I just wonder what they're paying like in the DC area now. If I'm paying $30 down here, they got to be getting 50 or more for a cut up there for sure.
Well, you remember not long ago they had all on the internet out there where these dudes were talking about $100 haircuts, man.
Oh no, I didn't hear that.
Oh yeah, they were talking about to get a good cut, you're gonna have to spend $100. I'm like, well, I guess I won't be getting no good cut.
I heard that. I don't know.
No, I ain't. But see, there's all these old broke Negroes trying to act like they ballers. Just like, I know 2 young kids that grew up with my kids down here that their daddy opened up a barbershop. He passed on, and they got it. But for a while there, when Durant and them was here and Westbrook, that's where they all went to get haircuts. Then, they got, I guess they always was popular, but then all of a sudden they started doing private sessions. They would be in there talking and bragging about $300 haircuts. And I'm saying, well, I guess if you making 25 million a year, you can do that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But that ended real quick. I don't think they cut nobody's hair down there now. But yeah, man, they were talking about $300 haircuts. I'm like, shit, man. As long as they got guides in them boxes, I cut my own damn hair. I ain't paying no $300. I ain't paying no $100. Well, let me stop that. I remember when I said I wouldn't pay for no car more than 36 months. And that was a lie.
Oh yeah, like you say, things change, and you have to sort of change with the times and all. But yeah, I've seen that with with him with barbers, shops and things of that nature. They the price is steadily going up. That's for sure. But I don't know. Like I said, I guess I look at it. I usually don't get a haircut, but every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on what I've got going on and stuff. And I said, well, if you break that down over a 3-week period, that's only $10 a week. So maybe that ain't so bad, kind of thing. But yeah, it same way. It gets to be pricey, and I don't. I think, matter of fact, I'm almost certain I'm one of those kind of clients that, because he's always running behind, he get caught up on, because I mean I'm an easy cut. I ain't
right.
it ain't a whole lot he's got to do for me either. So I think he uses me a lot of times to get caught up with stuff.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it ain't cheap no more. That's for sure.
Ain't lying. Yeah. We was catching up because it'd been a while since I've been over there. So when he got done, he was handing me my glasses and stuff and cap. He had the mirror. He said, "Mr. T, you still don't need this mirror? No, you done cut it off now. Ain't no need of looking at it. You can't put it back."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh no, I did you right." I'm like, "Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did."
Yeah, I'm the same way too. He gives me the mirror every time, and I don't think I have ever said, yeah, can you take a little bit more off here, or can you do this there?
Right.
I look at it just to tell him, yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
keep right on going. Like you say, I don't know what I could tell him. As you say, you can't put it back on. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And all, but I guess that's just part of his standard routine too. That he's going to give you the mirror to have you look at it. But yeah, I'll say, yeah, look good. Keep right on going.
Keep on going, man. They don't need to sit here hee-haw. I've seen people sit there. Well, can you? There's one hair right there. Can you get that? And I'm like, please get a brush. Good God.
I've seen those too. I've seen those too. That seem like every little hair has got to be a certain way. I'm like, come on now. You're gonna get outside, you're gonna brush it, and all that ain't gonna look like that nowhere. You're gonna put a hat on.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
ain't gonna work like that no way.
Before they even leave out the door, they got a cap on their head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is a joke. So yeah, man, I was just the treat for me was getting that hot towel on my face and seeing my mustache be even for a change instead of slanted on one side. but yeah, man, that's I'll be good for that. I'm gonna tell the same lie now. I'm gonna keep this up. I'm gonna keep the line around my mustache. Man, you wig up hair all on your lip, I'm like, man, I said, I need to get some of them clippers you got, man, because I can use my little ones I got around here and touch the lip, man. The hair still be there, like it won't cut it, even right up under my nose, that little stubble that grows there.
Right.
And I sit there, I damn near cut myself pressing so hard trying to get that off of there. He took one little clean as a whistle. I was like, man, it's worth it to come here for that.
Yeah. And back in the day, I mean, when he used to had his own shop, and he had like 2 to 3 other guys in there with him, and that was a place to be. I mean, just they'd be in there cutting up, and this older gentleman that'd be getting everything started. Unfortunately, he passed away. But I mean, I just used to go in there just to have as much fun, just listen to them carry on as it was for the haircut, But after COVID and stuff, he got his own one-man place now. And even though me and him, we talked the whole time we were in there, we always had a good conversation. it ain't the same atmosphere as back when you had 4 barbers and you had 10 guys waiting and everybody was involved in some kind of conversation about something. And
Yep.
yeah, the Godfathers, I called him, is after everybody. I said, it just ain't the same as it used to be.
Yeah, you're right, because that's what I used to go for that too, man, just to sit up there and listen and just kind of marvel at where did that thought process come from? It just, I know a lot of people just be in there talking, but this one dude, well, he was the father of the boys that's running in there. I came in there from work one day just to get my stuff cut, and he was like, yo, Rodney. I said, yeah. He said, what? These young boys in here, uh, uh, they were debating on Kevin Durant, who he was going to sign with when they had that big whoop-de-doo, who he was going to sign with, Nike or some other shoe company. He said, yeah, these young boys in here, I'm trying to tell him he needs to go with what is established, and because that's a long term. He said, what do you think about that? I said, well, I hadn't really thought about it, He said, well, if you hadn't thought about it, you don't know, what's going on. I said, well, damn, DeForest, that ain't rocket science. Damn, you act like we talking about world affairs. I said, well, since you asked, I'll tell you. Do you think the players give a damn about what you think about the shoe they endorse? I said, because I wouldn't. I said, you can come here and have some pro kids. But if you're going to pay me $60 million to put my name on it, put my name on that. I ain't finna sit up here, I'm going with Nike because Nike is established. Man, I got my $60 million. I don't care if your shoe don't sell. I'm like, man, who cares about that, man? That's just what these folks want to pay to think they can get over, charging you $150 for a pair of shoes.
Yeah, because if you read that Michael Jordan story, if it hadn't been for his mom, he wouldn't have been with Nike.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was scheduled to go with Adidas, because they were established at that point. Nike was a new kid on the block and really didn't have that much in sales, and they approached him about endorsements and he was ready to go with Adidas, and his mom's, sort of talked him toward Nike, and as they say, the rest is history. So yeah,
yes, sir.
You just
don't
know.
Now.
Yeah, so you just don't know.
Yeah.
I was talking to Tamara the other night. They had Magic Johnson on the Today Show the other morning. He he's part of that ownership group that bought the old Washington Redskins.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And I was telling him, I said, I've always admired Magic, for how he's handled his life situations and things of that nature. I said, but he almost made it sound like to me like he was trying to come off like, well, I came from dirt poor with lived in a house with no plumbing and all this kind of. I'm like, you started out where you had your money making multi-millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You had Jerry Buss there to guide you through the latter part of your career and into your business world and all. So I'm like, I'm just not as impressed as I am with someone. I'll take it, someone like Oprah, who really started from the very bottom,
right.
much of nothing. As I say, I remember when she was a reporter on Channel 5 back in the probably, I guess, the 60s and things. I said, yeah, I applaud you for what you've done, that you got to the point to where you got that kind of money to buy a pro football team. But I'm not so into the, I walked around, with no shoes on my feet. Now, it's not that kind of story.
That's right. And that's the one that they cast on these brothers, and they ain't got sense enough to rebut it, because it's a statement about your folks and you and the stereotype. That's just like Kevin Durant up here, talking about his mama ate when they didn't eat and this and all that. She worked at the damn post office. She had a decent job. Y'all might have had some tough times, but I don't think you were starving. And you had a roof over your head, all that. Last time I checked, the post office paid pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
And his daddy was one of them Capitol policemen, and they weren't together, but they raised them boys together. And is a story that they printed all up out here. And because he had one article where he was talking about he couldn't wait till his father retired and came on out this way. Because I think they had a Durant Plaza down there somewhere in Edmond back there. The grandmama had a house. The mama had a house. He had a house. I don't know if his brother was in it with his, but they was all over the place down there. And,
yeah.
But they play that crap up because of the narrative that it presents. I ain't saying that they they weren't millionaires by any means, but there's well, just like for instance, we wasn't rich, but we didn't know we wasn't rich. We had food on the table. We had most of the things that we wanted. Had decent clothes to wear. It wasn't like you said, sleeping on the dirt floor, and I had to go haul water because we didn't have no inside plumbing. That's how they play it up, and it irritates me.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought about when I saw that interview, because we were the same way. We didn't have a whole lot growing up, but we always had, as I look back, everything we needed.
Yes, sir.
And probably a lot of what we wanted.
Yeah.
So as I looking back on that, and sometimes, like I said, I think people try sort of embellish things a little bit to try to make it seem like it was a worse scenario than it was. But
yeah.
me and my brother-in-law, we always have it. There was a because Durant is his man. And we always have them discussions about Durant. I said, I keep telling him, I said, well, Durant was a Hall of Fame basketball player. I said, I by no means would even try to defend the fact that he's not. I said, but off the court, I said, how many commercials you see Kevin Durant doing? None. How many foundations and things of that nature that you really hear about that he's doing, which I'm sure he's got. I said, to me, he just never had the personality that businesses went after. I said that he to me, just never been that kind of person. I say to some point, I feel even he thinks he has never gotten all the accolades he's needed, even in basketball. Even when he won the MVP, he's talking about how people talk about Steph Curry and stuff like that, and I'm like, well, I think a little bit is because of you, and how you conduct yourself, kind of thing. But you got the MVP, you won championships. What else do you need?
Man, a lot of people want the whole package, but they ain't delivering the whole package. Steph has got the charisma. He's got the he can interact with people well.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant does, but he has, well, he doesn't have the charisma. I'll definitely say that. But he's stoic, and he's really just not a people person, really, from my perspective.
I feel the same way.
And he's every bit the ball player. He's done all of that, but he had the same problem with Russell Westbrook, and Russell Westbrook couldn't hold a candle to him, And part of the problem with him, though, was some of it, I should say, was his mama too. She had her hands in on too much stuff, and it came to a head here when they did that little movie about him, and he didn't like something in it that he wanted to change and all that. And mama told the producers, "No, go ahead and do this and do that." That's when he got her out of his business. That's when he got with Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. He told her, "You need to go somewhere and sit down," because she was all off into the stuff, man. And he left here shortly after that because, well, me and a partner of mine that sells, he used to sell cars, well, he still does, but that dealership closed. I was out there getting my car fixed at the dealership, and this lady was in there. It was like, "Oh, I thought Kevin loved it here. He wasn't going to leave." I'm like, "Please, lady, this is a profession.
It's business."
Yeah. I said he loved Maryland too, but he left and went to Texas, didn't he? I'm like, no, I thought he liked it. Well, see, these Oklahomans got this love affair with Oklahoma thing. Everybody loves Oklahoma.
Right, right.
I knew eventually he was going to leave, but when he signed with Jay-Z, I said, "Oh, it ain't long now." Jay-Z finna get him out of this small market, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
What happened? Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah, that's why it wouldn't be as to be having that conversation. You know, he blames the whole reason that OKC didn't win a championship on James Harden. You know, James Harden didn't show up in the playoffs. He was average, 30 plus all during the season. As playoffs come around, he can't average 10 points a game. He's the one that reason they lost. I said, well, brother, I said if Durant was such a great player, if James Harden was only averaging 15 in the playoffs, he was averaging 30. I said Durant should have picked up them other 15. I mean, that's his role on the team. He did his part. He did his part. I said Westbrook did. It was James Harden. I said, okay, all right. I said you go blame it on James Harden, but he sticks by that every time we get in the conversation.
Well, see, Madison should live here because they're gonna find a scapegoat. My thing with this is the NBA is a business.
Mm-hmm.
They took a chance to bring them from Seattle here. Well, that was a small market too, but they brought them here as a small market because that owner they had here lied his ass off. Okay. Oklahoma got too much too soon. They weren't ready to be a champion. All of them were young, but that was to solidify this foundation of this franchise here in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City, the Thunder was not good enough to win the championship. I don't care if Harden could have hit 40 with his ugly ass. They wasn't going to win that because they weren't ready. Miami was going to put knee deep into them, what they did, and it just wasn't ready. That's simple. But the league, people don't believe it, but the league is about making money, and they will fix stuff so that it happens that way.
Oh yeah.
That's just like boy from Milwaukee went to Oklahoma State up here when they first got here. They did a trade from Milwaukee to here, had him play here for a few years, trying to draw crowds because he was a local boy, played at OSU. As they had a couple of years of that and got back, all of a sudden there was a trade back to Milwaukee. I'm like, man, y'all can't see how this works. Okay, look. I'm going way back now. They always want. That's why they letting them stack the team out there in LA. They always want teams in LA and New York to do good.
Yeah,
both
yeah.
The big media markets. You remember back when New York wasn't doing nothing and Patrick Ewing was coming out? They didn't have the number one pick, but somehow they ended up with it to get that draw out there, up there in New York, to compete with LA. And it's a business. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's a business first.
I say that all the time, and that's why I look at, how many times did Michael Jordan foul out in his career? I don't know if he fouled out 2 times in his whole career.
Yeah.
And I know people knew that there were situations where, just like in the playoffs, you ain't gonna call a foul on Michael Jordan.
Right.
You just ain't gonna do that,
Exactly.
But yeah, I've always said that there's certain players that have that kind of, respect in the game and that kind of clout in the game. Where
they say the people ain't coming to see them superstars sit on the bench. They want them on the court.
They want on the court.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you seen LeBron James just run over folks and have 2 fouls?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They know who's got to stay in the game and who's got to play the game.
That's right.
And that's the way, and I think early on in the sport, it wasn't quite that way. I mean, I think it was the games were more straight up back in the early days of the games and all. But as it began to be more and more big business, then that kind of stuff started to play more and more into the game.
Yeah.
You got to keep your superstars on the court. You got to do those kind of things and bring the crowds. That's when they started jumping on Popovich when he started resting players. He first started that thing, even though it started to catch on throughout the league. But they was all over him when he started doing it. And they said the same exact thing. People are buying their tickets to see the stars. That's why they're buying their tickets. They need to play, and so it's been that way for for quite a number of years. And I guess if I was running the league and you know where your bread is buttered, that's what you go with.
Oh, exactly. I would do the same thing. And they have them dudes keep them in the game to play. And hey, I lost my train of thought, but tell them referees, don't foul him, man. You know, let him stay, because that's what the people are paying to come to see, and that's what we're gonna show. And they're gonna. The reason that they want them to stay in there for that too is because that affects their TV money. If your games ain't exciting on TV, the TV money ain't gonna be paid like it's being paid.
Yeah, that's the way it is. And the thing about a lot of sports like basketball and baseball and like football, like I tell people all the time with my Cowboys, I said one thing the NFL got going for them that a lot of the other sports league don't have for a team like the Cowboys is they got so many people that hate the Cowboys.
Yep.
That they do that love the Cowboy. They stay in the spotlight and they ain't won a Super Bowl in 27 years now.
Yep.
Exactly. But I said, that's the reason. I said, you get any player that say gets in trouble. Mm-hmm. They may have played for the Cowboys 30 years ago. The headline's going to be former Cowboy in trouble. Whether they play with 10 other teams after they play with the Cowboys, it don't matter. It's always going to be a former Cowboy, is in trouble. And I said, when you're in a league like that, you almost couldn't wish for a better scenario where really one of your marquee teams cannot have won a championship that long, and they still is at the top of everybody's mind because you got just as many people who hate the Cowboys as you do who love them. And so, that's what it's about. That's why they ain't really made any kind of special arrangements hardly for the Cowboys, because they're going to be there regardless.
Yeah. The name of the game is putting butts in the seats.
Yes,
that's what the name of the game is.
That's it.
And I remember reading one time about my boy back in the day when I was a little boy, falling for all that wrestling stuff, but Gorgeous George.
Right.
Oh, Gorgeous George, that was a bad dude. And Muhammad Ali, I was reading this story, and he's like he ran into Gorgeous George. And he said that's where he got his stick from. He said, because George was flamboyant and talked a lot of noise. And he said, Gorgeous George told him, so well, just think about it. That half the people gonna come that's gonna love you. He said the other half is coming to see you get your ass whipped. Mm-hmm. He said the whole thing is putting butts in the seats.
And that's exactly what he did.
And that's what he did.
Yeah.
And Ali
just as many there was hope. I mean, there was people that just downright hated Muhammad Ali.
Oh yeah. And even doubled it when he backed up what he said he was gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, man, that's what it's about. That's marketing 101.
Yeah. That's where you got to be. That's the way it got to be. That's for sure.
There's a lot of people get into business, want to cater to a certain demographic or a certain thing, man. The object of this, the color of this thing is green. I don't care where it's coming from, as long as it's legal. That's who I want to attract. I'm not going, let's open up a black club. No, let's open up a club for everybody. Everybody got some money.
That's the way I said it too. I know when we had that restaurant for a while, somebody said, well, y'all are catered to the MTSU student. I said, every damn student in MTSU is broke. Mom and dad's paying for that. Where do you think they're going to get money to go eat out at? I said, shit, ain't no way I'd cater to the students at MTSU. That's probably the lowest demographic of money in the whole damn county.
Yes,
So no, I'm same way. You got to go where the money's at.
That's right.
And sometimes, you got these, businesses that will try to come up with something unique. Sometimes it catches on, sometimes it doesn't. Everybody talk about, you can't be the next Walmart, even though there's a lot of stores that have tried,
right.
But you got to come up with something, a lot of times, something that sort of sets you apart a little bit.
Yeah.
And that can be That can be a little hard to find. What is it about your business? What you do that sets you apart from the other that people would like. I mean, of course, you could set you apart, but if nobody's buying it, it still ain't doing you no good.
Mm-hmm. But it's all about timing, man. It's all about timing and circumstance. Because who'd have thought Walmart would have ended up like they did?
Oh yeah, yeah. Have you ever said to yourself, why not think about that? When you look back on how some of these multi-billion-dollar companies were formed, when you think about people like Bill Gates, Sam Walton, Oprah Winfrey, well, there's a lot of people, millions of people who are saying the same thing, but there's only one of those individuals I just mentioned. Hope you enjoyed this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School. Join us next time. Until then, this is Mickey G. Peace.